Okay, so you become a prospect for the Hells Angels.
Right, in 1994.
Right.
May 4th.
Now, the concept of a prospect means that you get to be around these guys and they're considering you as a full member.
Right, you're a prospective member. That's what it means. Yeah.
And you're essentially at the bottom of the totem pole in this organization at that point.
Right. The only guy lower than me is a hang-around. You know, the hang-around, then the prospect, and then you get the members.
Now, Hells Angels have certain rules. You can't steal or deal with stolen bikes.
Well, that was Pat's. Yeah, I've never really seen any of those guys do that anyway, but I mean, we were more or less a couple of the sinner guys, you know, we were doing it as sinners, you know, I mean, grabbing some bikes.
Yeah.
But as, I think when I got hooked up with the Angels and became a prospect, because Pat owned a motorcycle shop, he didn't want any heat to him, so he told us, don't deal with any, don't steal any bikes, don't do any shit. And I was good with that anyway, you know.
Right, you can't deal drugs.
Well, they were dealing drugs.
But that was one of the Hells Angels rules, though, wasn't it? Not really?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. You can't disrespect anyone's wife or girlfriend.
Right, that's true.
Unless the member said it's okay.
Yeah, there wasn't many members saying it was okay. Yeah.
And you can't let anyone disrespect a member or a prospect. And if they did, then you'd have to fight them.
Right.
And once the other guy said, I've had enough, you had to stop, shake hands, help them up.
Very true.
And
true.
The fight is over. And you ended up beating up 3 members and 2 prospects.
Right.
This was during the prospect time?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the guys sucker punched me in the face, and I got into it with him. And when I got him to the ground, you know, and I was just ready to start pounding his face, and they all jumped on me, and not jumping on me like, you know, to beat me up. They grabbed me and they were holding on to me, and I could hear them laughing and stuff, you know, and they're like, okay, man, we just wanted to see, we mud checked you just to see if you'd fight. Well, why wouldn't I fight? You sucker punch me in the face, you know?
Right. And you're a big guy. How tall are you?
6'8".
6'8".
Yeah.
And how big were you, like, pound-wise during that time?
I was like 450 at that
450.
time.
6'8", 450. Were you, like, the biggest guy there?
No, there was like, I was one of the, there was a couple other guys as tall as me and big as me, but there were some guys in there that were like way heavier than me, like, you know, 600 pounds, and there's some big heavy set guys in there.
Okay. Now, you're already part of the Sinners, but once you started riding with the Hells Angels, it was a very different riding style.
Oh, yeah.
They were like
day
really
and night.
Up on each other.
Day and
really
night,
close. Why was that?
I'm laughing because you're like the 100th person to ask me, and I don't have an answer for it. I don't know why we rode like that, because, you know, if one of the guys in front of you went down or a tire blows up, we were all going down.
Right.
And that's just the way they rode. And I never understood it, you know, but it was like the thing we had to do. Right. And I had a full bagger when I first came around. They're like, get rid of it, because I couldn't keep up with them. FXRs was their bike of choice, you know.
Right, and you would see people get badly hurt or even killed.
Oh, yeah, many times I did. Many times. Break their necks, and prospects that broke. I remember this kid from Cleveland, he went off the side of a cliff, and he fell like 40 feet. It was on the ledge. If he would have fell again, he would have been another 80. He would have been dead. Yeah. And they airlifted him out of there. Next time I saw him, he had the neck brace with the bolts in his head, you know, and he couldn't move. And I looked at him and I said, you okay? And he said, I'm done, man. I'm done.
Well, a lot of the Hells Angels, you said, during that time were all about meth.
Yeah, that seemed to be the drug of choice.
Right. And at one point, Pat, the president, gave you a can of Coke.
Yeah.
And it had meth in it.
Right. On the way to Sturgis. No. Because I wouldn't do it.
Okay. Was that, so now you're on, you know, taking meth unknowingly. Was that a drug that you were like, no, I'm good with, I don't want it anymore? Or did you actually go through a phase where you're taking meth yourself? I
was taking it after that. Well, when we hit the road, because I was falling asleep in the back of the pack, and when that stuff kicked in, man, I was just like, couldn't get there fast enough, or, anything fast. I was up for like 3 days. And then after that, I would use it as a tool. Like when we would get someplace, we'd ride all day, 10 hours, and we get to the hotel, and then they turn to me and say, hey, PeeWee, you watch the bikes for the first 4 hours. We're leaving at 7 a.m. So, if we're there and I got the first 4 hours, I got to stay up till 2 in the morning and lay down, hope to get a couple hours of sleep. A couple of the members, from Massachusetts, they had a room. They let me come in there and crash on the floor for a couple hours. But to watch those bikes, and you were like dead tired. You just boop, do a little bump, bang, gets you spinning again. And most of the time, you couldn't close your eyes. It was like impossible.